Greetings fellow survivors, I am the Medieval Nerd and welcome to the first gameplay tutorial video for Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. In this video, we'll be covering movement basics. More specifically, the following topics: how to move, movement costs, how to run, peeking around corners, and safe mode. Let's start off with how to move. To move your character around, use the numpad keys, where key number 1 would be walk southeast, key number 8 would be walk north, etc. Numpad key 5, however, is used in order to wait one turn. Basically, this allows for some game time to pass. Perfect to use in order to wait for some smoke or some acid to dissipate. In order to climb upstairs, simply press the shift and comma key. In order to climb downstairs, hold the shift and period key. Now let's talk about movement costs. Movement cost is basically a value assigned to a tile representing how difficult it is to come across. If we take a look at this shrub, the movement cost is 400, which is basically 4 times as much as a regular tile, which would have a movement cost of 100. Movement cost is important to think about when you're in combat, especially when you're approaching an enemy or when you're fleeing an enemy. You want to avoid stepping over tiles that have a high movement cost, allowing you to get a better distance away from your enemy. Likewise, you'll want to have an enemy try to go over high movement cost tiles in order to gain distance from them or to get an extra swing or two at them during combat. Now let's talk about how to run. Simply hold the shift key and press the apostrophe key. This will toggle between walk and run. In order to figure out if your character is walking or running, simply look here in the UI where a W will represent that you're walking and an R that you are running. Make sure you keep an eye on your stamina bar while you're running because it will deplete itself, and the last thing you want is to have no more stamina and have to fight, because fighting requires stamina, so always keep an eye on your stamina bar. Now let's talk about peeking around corners. In order to peek around a corner, simply hold the Shift and X key and the game will prompt you to select a direction. Take note that it doesn't need to be a corner, could be a door frame or a window frame. Peeking simply puts your character into a position which allows you to scout for enemies, without allowing them to see you. Take note that while you are scouting for enemies, you will be unable to perform any actions other than look for items or enemies. Once you are done observing, simply press the escape key and your character will return to his initial position. Take note that if an enemy already saw you before you perform a peek, it doesn't matter, for the enemy already knows where you are. Now, before we close this video about movement, it's important to talk about safe mode. Especially for new players, I highly recommend that you go into the settings menu and turn on safe mode. You can make sure safe mode is enabled by verifying the setting here. And more importantly, you can verify that automatic re-enabling a safe mode is enabled by looking at the setting here. What safe mode does is basically prevent you from not noticing that an enemy monster is about to come and kill you, although your character might have seen it. Basically, when safe mode is on, and your character is moving, as soon as your character is able to spot a hostile, meaning an enemy that has spotted you and wants to go towards you, it will lock the game. As you can see in this message, it says times 22, so that means I had done 22 key presses while this safe mode was enabled. Once you want to turn off safe mode, simply press the Shift and 1 key and safe mode will be disabled. If you follow my advice and have safe mode automatically re-enabled, once you have done 50 game turns and no enemies are spotted, safe mode will be re-enabled. This is really useful in order to avoid dying in the game, so I highly suggest you leave it on until you are extremely familiar with the game and it's only a nuisance to your gameplay experience. Next video will be covering inventory management basics. Thank you very much for watching. You have all been amazing. I am the Medieval Nerd. See you next time.